where it is, but also put it in the data area and have it sum up those numbers.
So go ahead and do that.
Okay. And I won't actually do it on this report because we would actually want to build it from scratch to do it that way. But let me just show how I would approach that. So if I would say create a mastermind report.
That field is duration, and yeah, those are characters. So
yeah, the duration field is actually handled in Mastermind 3 different ways. One is straight up just as duration, as you know, the word duration, and duration is a, as you said, it's a character field, so it's not one that will automatically do calculations for you. Gosh, how'd you do this with version 5?
Templates.
Okay, that's right. We have
service case, and then template was history related to cases when that's finished.
Right. Okay. Okay. So under cases, we've got history linked to cases, and the fields that relate to duration here are actually available in all history reports. Every history thing throughout Mastermind. If I go over to our CH fields, which are history. Whoops, overshot it there. Here are the 3, actually I guess 4 different ways that duration is handled in Mastermind. Duration, as I mentioned, is straight character. Minutes and hours, actually I'm going to turn all 4 of these on, and then I'm just going to switch over to the SQL query so you can see what the actual expression is that uses those, for those who are familiar with the SQL expression. And it's a little bit complicated because it's just the expressions wind up being very complicated to show them, but here it is, just simply straight up character value version of duration, so that's just pulling it out as text. This next one, which is called minutes, actually the whole expression is all of this in here, but what that does is if it's possible to convert it into numbers, it does. And what it does is it looks to see, did you enter this as a decimal number? If it did, just return it as a decimal number. Secondly, if it's stored in the format that duration is normally stored in Goldmine, which is hours, minutes, seconds, it's actually HH:MM:SS, meaning hours, minutes, seconds, and it would take that and convert it into a decimal number of minutes. So if it can, it does it in order. If it can interpret what was entered by hand as a decimal, it does that. If it needs to convert hours, minutes, seconds to a decimal, it does that. And then thirdly, if it can't do either one of the first 2 things, it just returns 0. So in other words, no matter what happens, a number is returned, and because of that, that would allow you then to take that field, this number, namely a number of minutes, and put that into the data area and have it sum up those numbers. Or it would also allow you to do things like group by numbers, so that, if you wanted things from 0 to 10 minutes to be one thing and 10 to 20 minutes to be another, it would just automatically put them in buckets that way. So that would be the second way of doing it, converting it to minutes. The third way would be converting it to hours, which is essentially this expression right here. And it's really the same as the previous one, the same reasoning. It's just that it shows it as a decimal number of hours as opposed to a decimal number of minutes. In Steve's case, probably I would have chosen to use the hours field as the way of doing this. And you can do multiple ones. You could pull in duration as you did, but also pull in hours and use this one as a display in the row area and use this one in the data area. And then the last possibility for showing these things, although it wouldn't apply in this case, to look what's there and convert it into dollars. Most sale records, they're completed sales in Goldmine, they're still history records, and the dollar amounts for sales are also stored in the duration field. And so here, amount would be essentially treating that value that's in there as a dollar value. So those would have been your options. And Steve, do you have any comments or questions about that explanation?
No. That's fine. I should have done it that way. This was actually the first report I did for Mastermind, which was the most important report. How these guys get paid was most important to ever making them paperless. So yeah, I can change that. That's pretty neat.
That's always
but really, accounting doesn't complain too much. They just click 2 times and all of a sudden it's a number, so it's not too bad.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we could, by the way, here's just a tip, or a trick rather. We could take this syntax right here and copy this from this fake one that we're setting up. We could copy this expression, and we could go over to that other report, open up the query in MS Query, and paste this into it, so we would be actually adding this as a field into your existing report.
Cool.
So that's one option.
We'll do that later.
Okay, so that's I think a good little tangent there on that. But let's go back in.
All right. So again, a busy little report. Most importantly, the hours, helping the guys get paid by pay period. All right. So let's move on. Let's go to the next report used by. I could use some advice on this.